Wish I knew why YouTube was. It still says connecting. Is our streaming service not working? What is going on?
Do just to make sure no one's eating my bandwidth, I'm going to close Safari.
It says it's connecting, but it actually looks like the stream's working, so we're good there.
Okay. I can test it
there
on my
it goes.
own.
No, we're good now. It's up and running. Oh, there we go. We got people coming in, so we're good.
Okay.
All right. That's good. Let me put it up here, and then we will get going as soon as Matt gets back. Brograph.com/live, Brograph.tv, and let's see what else. I'll go share that. Yep. All right, cool. People coming in. Let me, yeah, okay, that's good.
Standby. I can see standby on the live.
Where you at, Matt? Come on. Come on with it, Matt.
So I'm going to turn off this preview thing just in case it's eating up my bandwidth.
Bandwidth, yeah.
Well, I mean, I have a reasonably good connection by a last mile provider. They're very good. But in my
you'll be able to see the comments though if you are running. Actually, I think you can still pause and see the comments on the YouTube page.
Oh, the YouTube page.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm going to put it on the YouTube. So,
sorry, y'all.
So I need to do this, the default view. So now I have comments. What's up, bros?
Did you get it working, Dave? YouTube?
Yep. Yeah, we're good.
Right.
We got people watching already. Yep. So.
Oh, hello,
all. The three view preview.
Dave fixed Google.
All right. I believe we're good.
Oh, I'm in the middle. I can actually see me.
You can actually see us. You went out of standby
there we
mode.
Go. We're out of standby mode. We're about to record.
I just need to double check my recording that it hasn't, because it changes for some reason.
Oh, inputs.
Yeah, no, it changes the levels. See, unless I literally.
Oh, right.
I don't know what the deal is, and I don't know why it does this.
Auto levels.
Yeah, see, it just randomly changes.
Oh, yeah. You're going back to that, right?
What?
I'm always going back to that.
I get a $30,000 worth of free junk or something. You never know.
Which I haven't used for a second because I didn't do production anymore.
I used a little bit of it.
Of what?
And
it was very generous from Red Giant.
Yeah, I've used a lot of it. I use Particular. I use Shine. I use that's about it. I guess not a lot of it. We used the some of the effects and stuff like that for the Christmas card that we put out.
Right.
Yeah. All right. You ready? I'm rolling. Are you rolling audio?
And 3, 2, 1, red button.
Okay, so we're all recording. I'm recording the Skype backup now. The way that we're going to do this, come on, where's my, okay. The way that we're going to do this intro to the show is that I do an intro, I say my name, Matt says his name, Matt will introduce you, and you'll say hi, and then I'm going to go into the whole spiel, what Brograph is, and you can email us, blah, 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 and then we'll get into the show. So, Matt, you good on the intro?
Thanasis, I don't think I even know how to say your last name, so I'm just going to call you Noseman.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Exactly as it's spelled.
Right.
Posensis.
Okay. Yep. We're notorious for mispronouncing everything on the show, so.
Food for sarcasm, my friend.
All right. So we're rolling Skype. We're all rolling here. We need to do a sync point. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and then we clap on 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. That'll all
It'll
sync
sound
up in
off on
post.
your end, but it'll be fine on ours.
Right. All right. So we are rolling. We got some people in here. What's up, Jago? And we got, all right. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of people coming in, and I think we're ready to go. I'm going to double check the stream audio. Yep, sounds good. And just everybody just keep an eye on your recording apparatus. And I think we're good. Y'all feeling good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
Indeed.
I'll make sure my phone is muted. Okay.
Man, my audio is... I don't like this.
Is it peaking for you again?
No, like the microphone level just keeps on pushing it up and up and up. It's like it's automatically adjusting it in Windows. It did this to me last time too. And so like I'm literally having to ride the thing the whole time.
You're not sponsored by Microsoft or anything, are you?
No.
So I can say nasty things about Windows?
Yeah. We'll say nasty things about Mac too.
Oh, I'm glad I figured this out in the
Those
chat.
are lies.
Let's see. Automatically adjust audio. See, this is stupid.
Let me fix the crop on the chat real quick.
That's funny.
Let me resave that scene real quick.
Devices.
Do. Saving things live on the air. Podcast 3 up. Got it. Okay. Replace. Good to go. Let me switch screens. Make sure we got this. Waiting for the interview with Noseman for a long time. Cool beanie cap Noseman is sporting. All right. Chat's
That's
coming in.
One, two. Whatever. I'm just going to have to ride this in this.
Yeah. That's what she said. Let's begin, shall we?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Okay, cool.
All right. What up, bros? Welcome to another Brograph Brocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt. And joining us today, you've heard the sultry sound of his vocals on Cineversity and many other places. Joining us today is the man, the myth, the legend, Noseman. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to be here, guys. It's been a long time.
Brograph is a supplement to our site, brograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other MoGraphy stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. And you can email us your questions, comments, show topic ideas to brograph@brograph.com, or you can get in our Slack channel, brograph.com/Slack. And put topic ideas in there and chat with all the people about all the fun stuff and things.
Yep.
And this week, we are getting back down to business. The excitement of DFWC4D has worn off.
Yep.
And we're now getting ready to go to NAB.
Yes. We're prepping for NAB, I guess.
Prepping for NAB. It's going to be fun. It's begun. It's going to be the big meetup of the year.
Are you going to be there at the NASA's?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Every year I'm there.
Are you presenting this year?
No, this year I'm actually supporting the Maxon booth.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know that I'm the least talented human being ever born.
that is not true, but okay.
No, but see, that's the trick, the sleight of hand, that I've made everyone believe that I'm actually talented. Anyway, and the fact is that there's so many talented women and men that are presenting with us this year. It's going to be awesome. So I didn't even have to surrender. It was my position was taken over by someone that deserves it more than me.
Good.
Yeah. I'm happy.
Well,
about
good.
that.
We'll at least see you. That's what.
Oh yeah.
That'll be fun. And it always feels to me now like the whole beginning of the year, every year, is the giant buildup to NAB. And it's like after NAB, it's like, okay, now we can get on with our year. Because it's all I can think about. And the spring is just always busy. And my brother actually got married 2 days ago. So it's like it's been this big buildup, and now it's like, okay, now I can really think about NAB, because like all the crazy spring stuff is done. I'm ready to visit with people and get excited about new products coming out, and NAB reinvigorates your passion. I feel like
totally
sometimes.
Gets you pumped for like doing the rest of the year until you start getting bored around SIGGRAPH, and then you go to SIGGRAPH and you're like, yeah, all right, let's do this again. And then January comes and you're like, where's all the business?
Well, the main catalyst with all these events is not the event itself. It's Maxon hospitality and the artist community that is around Maxon. I mean, Maxon can just go in the middle of the desert and put on a show, and it's going to be miles better than NAB and SIGGRAPH together without Maxon. So.
And everybody will show up.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So a couple things, week wrap-up things I wanted to talk about before we get into the meat of the program. I actually got an email from Ranch Computing, and they were talking about they were talking about the fact that I don't even know. I guess they listen to the show. I guess they're fans. I don't know. They were talking about the show and the fact that I was reporting that I had an issue with that.
And after this episode, we're going to get another email from Ranch Computing.
Right. No, well, no, I was nice about it. They were wondering why I talked about that because it's not true. And I was like, what do you mean it's not true? They're like, well, actually, we opened up your file and we dug into it and we found out that there's a glitch in Octane and you should disconnect these nodes and do all this stuff. And I'm like, well, that's not in your FAQ. Yeah. And I wasn't necessarily like bad mouthing. I said, I was very, very nice. And I sent something back and I said, look, this is what it appeared to be. And I reported on something. And that's the best part about our community is if there is something that we're having a struggle with or a technical glitch or an issue, that the community helps us figure out the problem. And I said, this Octane issue, I still haven't verified that this was the issue, but it's one of those things where your nodes will not work correctly if and output the correct deal, like image sequence, if you don't disconnect them and reconnect them. Like there's nothing that says that anywhere. So Matt, where'd you go? Matt,
I'm here.
I'm
still here.
Your video's gone.
Why is my video gone?
I don't know. I'm gonna do a marker though.
And I still look fabulously good.
There you go.
I'm cut in half.
Oh, good old Skype. Switch sides. So now you're on the other. Now you're no longer in the middle.
Well, according to the live stream.
Hey, now I'm in the middle.
So if anyone sees me looking that way, I'm just looking at myself, right? Just don't be confused.
Well, and now you're frozen. So turn off your video and turn it back on.
Okay, let me do that. Video off.
Gotta love Skype.
No.
Yeah. Telling you, we need to try the Discord.
Can we make bad comments about Skype?
Yeah.
Oh, always.
You can make bad comments about anyone you want.
Oh, thank you. So I have to make a comment about Skype, and hopefully many, Microsoft users hear it. It's the first product that was good enough when they bought it, and $1 trillion company has managed to do everything within their power to make it bad in every possible way. Yeah. Now, if they make a statement and they said we did an experiment to see how bad we can make a very good piece of software, then then kudos. I mean, that is something amazing because it can't be by coincidence. They must be doing it on purpose for some reason. Yeah.
I've been playing around with Discord the past few weeks. I've been training my brother how to use After Effects so that we can throw him some of our grunt work, So I've been training him how to do it, and him and I have been on Discord, and I really like Discord. I like it a lot.
The only thing that I don't like is when you're doing video, the graphics cards are just slammed compared to Skype, and I don't know why that is. Like my fans are going crazy, and I don't know what the difference is in their processing.
Yeah, I don't know.
By the way, you guys have PCs, don't you?
We have PCs and Macs.
And Macs. We have both.
But basically, when you talk about problems, you're talking about problems on your PC, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay.
We hate Windows, but we have to use it. That's basically how it is,
That's what
I don't know. I don't mind it. It's all just a launcher to me.
There's terminology.
What's that?
It's hoodwinked.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say what's it called when you take a prisoner and then they fall in love with you?
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, maybe that.
I didn't want to use that. It's a bit too heavy.
Right.
So let's say hoodwinked.
Okay.
So as far as the ranch thing, I guess all I'm going to say on that is that once I look at it and figure it out, then we'll post the solution. But it has something to do with image sequences. Apparently, Ranch, you can do image sequences with Octane as long as this glitch doesn't happen, which, I mean, how is anyone supposed to know about that? And he said the problem with having 24/7 support is that you have to pay somebody for 24/7 support. I'm like, and I was like, well, yeah, but I mean, I feel like a lot of the people who are using a render farm are doing it as a last minute or emergency thing, and that's when you're going to need the support the most. Or else, like me, I'm just going to say, oh, well, there. So again, it's nothing negative. It's not meant to be negative. We're reporting on the things we encounter, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
I do want to say
actually, before you do this, can I jump back to NAB real quick?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so they actually just released all the presenters for NAB.
Yes.
I forgot to put this in the show notes or whatever. So the only ones that they officially announced and pushed out to Twitter was on the International Women's Day, which is way awesome. Let's see. As far as the women, they've got Julia Simone, Robin Haddow, Devin Coe, Caitlin Kaju. You'll remember her from the show. Let's see. Penelope Niederlander. You'll remember her from the show as well. And Sarah Wycliffe, one of our good friends as well. So super cool. They've got those 6 female presenters. And then joining them is, of course, Nick Campbell, EJ Hassenfratz, Barton Damer, Andy Needham, Chris Schmidt, Dan Pierce. I'm excited to see that one. I enjoyed his a couple of years ago.
The Fox thing.
Yeah. Chris Villa, DJ Strange, Nate Rodriguez Vera, Phil Roberts, our very own Raid Zero.
Oh yeah, Raid Zero.
Sabor Emizorzodi. I totally messed that up, and I'm really sorry. Zachary Corzine. So a really good lineup at NAB this year. So it should be
really good.
Yeah.
Are you you're going through an underestimation phase, I think.
It's going to be
an awesome lineup for NAB. So very excited.
And we're going to try to at least talk to some of these people. I don't know how much time we will have, but we're going to try and do some short snippets with all of these people if we can before NAB, just to talk about what they're going to talk about during NAB and get people excited about it. So that'll be fun. And so I wanted to mention the bat signal. If you are on Slack, we actually have a channel now on Slack, on the Brograph Slack, called the Bat Signal. And this is because I didn't want to go do full channel announcements that send out annoying updates to people who don't want them. So the Bat Signal, if you sign up for that particular channel on Slack, you will be able to, you will get those notifications when we go live. So if you are on that, that's where you get that. So if we're going to do VR meetups or live streams or anything like that, if you want to get those notifications as they happen, sign up for that.
Anytime you want to participate with us, because we're doing something through the interwebs.
Through the interwebs. And what else do we have here? Oh, you got another really annoying email this this week. It's hilarious. We get these spam emails from these people, and it says, we were looking at your site and it was really great. We think what you have is amazing. Have you considered adding 3D or animated video to your website? And we're always like, did you go to our website?
3D?
3D
animated video.
3D.
Let me Google that.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. So what I did was, and this isn't the first time, and I guarantee you it's probably just spam. I did see because I do the tracking of our emails and stuff. I did see that someone actually read it, which is cool. But no, I just did the mocking SpongeBob meme. You know, saying, "Oh, I think you should add 3D or animate," and I just sent that back to him.
Yeah, that'll be the show artwork today. I've got a screenshot of it, so it's just hilarious. And some other minor things of the week before we get into the topics. The faux res, as they call it, which is ProRes on PC, which isn't technically Apple licensed ProRes. It's what is it called? Myriazon ProRes or whatever.
I don't know.
I had an issue with it this week, and I thought maybe other people should check this out and make sure they don't have the same issue, because I was delivering something with an alpha channel with with ProRes 444, and they were getting these weird black lines in the alpha channel all around it. So the solution was I went to DNX HD with alpha. Problem solved. But I just wanted to put that out there. Make sure you check those alpha channels if you're using ProRes.
If you now, for those who are willing to spend the money on an actual Windows solution, you can buy
Fusion.
Fusion. So Fusion 9 Pro actually has a legit version of ProRes in it. So that's an option.
Talking about Fusion, I saw Rich Nosworthy's video, and like everyone, I've downloaded every single version since it was free. Never actually used it, and I gave it about 15-20 minutes, and I'm blown away.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I have nothing else to say.
I see. I downloaded the free version the other day, and for me it was open up, have no idea what I'm doing, and close it down.
Did you watch Rich's video?
I have not, but I will.
No, please do, because Rich is a typical, traditional, very talented motion graphics artist, and the way he approaches it is by giving solutions about the problems you have as artists doing something. And it's amazing because he covers in like 45 minutes or something, or even less, the major things. You can just get up and running when you watch this video.
Is that the quick start for Blackmagic Fusion?
Yes. I mean,
okay, cool.
I think it's the only video he's made.
Yeah, I found it on Lester Banks' website. Here,
exactly.
I'll throw it over to you, Dave, so you can put it in the dingus.
Yeah. I think it's a very good investment of your time, even if you're not going to use Fusion. It's very well worth watching the video just to get an idea of how it works. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went over to my chat and then it closed it down. So now I think we're like super big on the screen.
Yeah. So don't touch the thing at all.
Okay.
I'm doing the video on and off again.
That's your video's off, Matt. That's the problem. I'm gonna do another marker.
That's so dumb.
You have no video, so don't touch Skype anymore.
Well, sorry, I was actually just sending you a message.
Yeah.
What about now? Is everything fine?
Is everything fine? Because
everything's
all right,
fine.
there we go.
Because Skype has to put the crazy URL link over your face for some reason because that's going to be helpful for some reason.
Right.
When someone sends you a link, to see it over your face for a second.
Right.
I wouldn't know. It's the only Microsoft. Well, actually, I use two Microsoft products. I have to be honest with you.
What's that?
Skype, and it's my mouse. Microsoft should have been, the company that makes the best basic mouse on the planet. That's it. And that's bravo to them. They've managed one thing not to totally destroy it.
That's funny.
It's true.
I got my little G whatever, G-Force, G-Track, I can't remember.
Those are too heavy. That's why you guys get carpal tunnel syndrome and tennis elbow and all that. It's because
mine's pretty light. It's wireless too. It's got a little charger in it, and so I've got the power pad with it, so like it actually charges it while it's sitting there. It's kind of nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to me in about 5 years time.
All right.
when you have your arm wrapped around your body. I can't move.
So other topics for today would be, by the way, I wanted to say that the DFW C4D videos are starting to roll out. We put out the first one from the presentation last Friday, I believe. And so we're going to have the other ones coming out just in order that they presented. So we're going to go EJ, and then it'll be the EJ David interview, and then we'll have Mitch. I'm going to try and get all of those out assuming that I can actually get taxes done this week, But
well, we have to have taxes done this week.
I know. So because we have been getting questions about that. Ricardo Salazar says, "Greetings from Portugal, and when will the presentations be online?" So yes, those will be out shortly. Also, as far as live streams are concerned, we will have the regular Thursday live stream, Redshift Thursday.
Cool.
I am thinking about, I'm going to stream somewhere in there, but I'm thinking maybe we'll do a double whammy Thursday and I'll go live after Liam.
Oh,
or maybe before. I don't know. We'll see. So you and I, Matt, we're working on a new logo for our company. And so I'm just going to try and live stream that as it goes through the next couple of weeks. So if you missed the Redshift Thursday live stream last Thursday, go back and check out the archive because Liam and Billy were both on, and Billy was showing off his wheel and race car, like racing wheel, which was really cool looking, and like kind of talking about the texturing and everything on that. Very, very cool. And I think that they're going to continue to do that kind of like interview style, collaborative type thing. And maybe not necessarily the two of them, but Liam and some other people as well, or back and forth. And then lastly, on the week wrap up stuff, Real Flow for Cinema 4D. Gosh. Oh my goodness.
So, okay. So we've got a license of just the version 1 version of Real Flow. We bought it when it first came out, though, the one for C4D. And so apparently, like, I think I hate locked nodes, licenses. I think they're really stupid. I think every license that you buy should be floating wherever you are, because if I've got 3 computers and I want to render it on one computer and then keep working on another, I shouldn't be limited like that. Or at least they should associate it with your C4D license. They don't. They license it according to your MAC address, which sucks. So like,
becomes so problematic.
Yeah. So I had it on my old, Octane PC, which is not my new one, and I wanted to switch it over to my new one. And so you have to do a support thing first, and then they send you an email asking you to fill out an entire document and sign it where you're changing the host ID, which is dumb.
Signature and everything.
Yeah, it's like, just let me change it physically in the support stuff.
So let me fix that for everyone. Okay.
Okay.
It has never been shown that the harder it is to crack a program will make people buy it. Okay, so developers, right? Listen to this. I've been using digital software since I would say the mid 80s. Okay, with the first commercial one being Adobe Illustrator 1, 1987, around November. Okay, so what I'll give you an example with Adobe. Adobe never had locked software, even and now with the cloud, it's different. What that became for them, they became the biggest company in graphic design, because we have to face it, that is going to buy it. Anyone that is not going to buy it and is going to pirate it is going to pirate it, regardless of how much how much you're going to lock it down, MAC addresses and all that. And I've heard of situations, I think it was back in the Softimage era, where the whole licensing thing was complicated sometimes, and it had a dongle and all that.
Yeah, so I hate the dongles.
People would buy the software when it cost $15,000, and then they would find a cracked version or something like that to use it as their production version, because it was less finicky than the actual version. So understand this. Read the statistics. Honestly, read the statistics. If we add up the hours that legitimate users waste trying to get FlexLM, this and that, and all that rubbish to work, that amount of time, which is money you're stealing from your clients because they're not working, they're trying to get it to work. That's the maximum amount of money you're going to lose. Yeah. Okay. And you're not going to lose any money. Anyone that cannot crack a software, they will not use it. They will not go and buy it. I mean, for people making such incredible software, these people are geniuses, okay? If they can't understand that fundamental principle, then I don't know what they can understand. You know, they're just doing their clients a disservice. So Next Limit, Autodesk, I don't know, Max, and this and that, everyone, just read the statistics. Yeah. And if you find any proof that locking software will make people pay for it, then do it. But I don't think you're going to find that data.
See, no, I've been playing around with Arnold a lot over the past week. I don't know. So anyway, I've been playing around with Arnold because I feel like I want to learn it, and I've been messing with it a lot. And one thing that I like about the trial of Arnold is that it just throws that watermark once your trial's up. You know, it's like that doesn't limit me to what I can and can't learn with it, you know? And so like I am still able to use the software and stuff like that without having to go through all that nonsense.
Oh yeah, that's great. Like indie versions, Apprentice and all that demo version. I mean, Maxon has 42 days. You know why it's 42 days? Yeah, everyone knows that. Yeah.
So anyway, so, no, you bring up a good point.
No, you know why it's 42 days, I'm saying.
Why?
Because that's how long it'll take you to do the project and get your invoice paid?
No.
No, I don't know. Oh, 42, because that's the number.
The secret of the universe?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, no, it's just, it was super annoying that I had to go through all this rigmarole in order to actually get my RealFlow license. Literally, I started this process a week ago, and just now today. So then we get the email back, you know, because I had to I sent the email, but since it was registered under Dave's email address, I had to have Dave send the email because otherwise they wouldn't accept it. So
even
I had
though
Dave sent the email.
Both of our names are on some of it,
right.
And we have like the email address from the same company. It's so like, what if that person didn't work there anymore? That email address didn't exist anymore? Then what?
Right.
Well, that shows the lack of foresight about these things. You know, it's just bureaucracy. You know, I do understand some companies have to answer to shareholders. So, you know, sometimes things are more complicated. But we have to understand that the client is the most valuable asset. You know, if you're alienating your clients, then you're not doing yourself a service. That's it. Then someone else is going to pop up and steal your client base.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that. And there are technical issues with, I remember I was testing I bought some software a long time ago. I don't want to say names and all that. And because my Mac Pro cheese grated 2010 has 2 Ethernet cards, depending on the situation, it switches the MAC address from one to the other. So they were kind enough to provide me with 2 actual licenses, one for each if it didn't work. Yeah, because that shows good customer service. Yeah, you know, they solve your problem without thinking of, whatever, maybe he's lying, maybe he's not. We're not going to risk it. You know, that's the whole thing. And funny enough, I never used that software. I just bought it because I liked. I collect software sometimes. I don't know.
You're like
I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm the same way though when it comes to certain things. I gotta say, like I'm guilty of doing that thing where you buy a piece of software and it's just so hard to do the licensing that you just get your other copy, your special copy. But it's like you paid for it, so you don't feel guilty about it. You know, it's just too much trouble.
I didn't stop using it because it was difficult. It's just that I buy software, I like it, but I have no particular use for it. Sometimes it depends on the developer. I will buy a software because I think that what he's doing is good for the general, Cinema 4D user base. You know, and you can have like 50, 100, 250 bucks lying around. Yeah, if you look behind the curtain, there's like stacks of dust. But anyway, so the thing is that sometimes you see a developer there, and this is my general advice. Sometimes you may not be sure you need something, but it's, if you think you can spare yourself a couple of coffees a week, and, and you can pay for a piece of software in a matter of 3 months, do it. Because down the line, it's going to benefit you. Someone's going to come up with a tool that you can utilize and do something even better than what you want.
For sure.
So that's one of the things I like about the Cinema 4D community as well.
Yeah. We just had Rick Bogus on the chat said, I'd like to send a huge thanks to Thanasis for his cinema dynamics training on lynda.com. For me, it's the best resource for learning dynamics.
Oh, I know. Oh, thank you. I meant. Thanks.
That's funny.
I think my first on Lynda.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's still relevant. Yes.
Yes.
Whether it was a good tutorial or a lack of updates from Max's side. Did I say? Can you cut that from the final edit?
Marker. The other thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you've seen this yet. The dynamic connector, CV dynamic connector preview that came out on Cineversity.
Okay, guys, I need to interject. It's very, very important. Okay.
Okay.
People do not understand how much value the MSA with the addition of Cineversity Premium adds their toolbox.
Yeah.
Donovan Keith, Rick Barrett, and a host of other people are making tools and presets and so forth. I mean, Donovan is a good friend as well. It's worth your MSA if you know. It's amazing. Just go and check out the list. Go and check out CV Toolbox on Cineversity.com and do yourselves a favor. Get an MSA and get it over with. Like, stop waiting. If you cannot make someone makes an average motion graphics artist makes about $60 an hour if they undercharge. Okay, let's assume you make $30 an hour. At $600, that's 20 hours if my math is not good. You know, if you cannot make 20 hours work towards your software update, you need to reconsider your business model seriously. You know, it's one of those business decisions. I'm not anyone to talk about any person's pocket, okay? But I think it saves a lot of hassle, a lot of time, and the benefits with Cineversity are toolbox.
Totally agree.
And of course,
I mean, and you know, you get the upgrade every year. You know, like so. Not only do you get all those tools and everything, but you basically get a new license. And that's always useful for me because if I'll be running R19 on one computer, R18 on another computer, R17 on another computer, you know, and I'll be able to render all this same stuff all at once, you know, as long as I'm not limited by some of the newer tools.
Are you allowed to do that?
Am I? I think I am.
Yes, I believe so.
I don't know. Anyway, but the biggest benefit with Cineversity is, I mean, how much do sleeping pills cost? You just put one of my videos without just listen to my voice, and you're down in 15 minutes.
That's true.
Yeah, no chemicals or anything like that. You can see weird dreams though, but that's another story. I think that's worth the upgrade. The MSA, sorry, the MSA.
So this preview here is something Donovan posted at the CV Dynamic Connector. It looks pretty cool. So I'll post a link in the show notes. Check that out. I don't know when this is. Is this out yet officially, or is this something coming soon?
No, it's out. It's out. It works 100%. So basically what it does is it takes the already inbuilt functionality of our connectors with a dynamic system, but you don't actually need to create these connectors yourself. You create a MoGraph setup with, let's say, 150 clones, a chain. Imagine a chain, and it will go automatically and under the hood put connectors between each object, and you can make tank trucks, you can make necklaces, you can make chains, you can make all sorts of things, and you can use any connector, and it has a lot of different attributes you can change, and it's absolutely amazing. Something that would take someone 20 minutes to set up by making 100 different connectors and putting them together and so forth. Now it will take you about, I would say, 3 seconds and 0.25. 3 seconds.
I'm going to have to play with that for sure.
Yeah.
0.26. Yeah.
But now it said it was made with release 19 and it works with 19 and greater. Is it's only available for 19 or 19?
So always take that with a grain of salt. Because Donovan develops these, it depends on how the API has changed from a previous version to the next version. So although the functionality of connectors hasn't changed, and in theory you could do that, with every release, Maxon adds more functionality to the Python and C++ SDK. And there's a good chance that Donovan always uses the latest and most modern of the technologies. So you can always test it. You can always test it, but or take that with a grain of salt. And especially with tutorials, when they say for release 19, again, it was made with release 19, but sometimes the whole tutorial can be done in 17, 16, even further back. Yeah.
You know what? I've got a great question for you right now because I don't have this in the notes. And this is something that kind of came up, I think, in the middle of last week. There's this word going around about the architecture changes that are happening in R20. Do you know anything about like how that affects plugin developers?
Okay, the best post about this, because I'm not a developer. I'm a copy paste spaghetti code.
Right.
If you write it, I know what to copy and paste. Okay. So Bjorn Marl, aka Srek, SREK on CG Society, replying to a post, gave the most concise answer. There were complaints by there was a complaint, actually a public complaint by a long-standing amazing developer, and he claimed that it was extremely difficult for him to port his plugins in the new SDK. And this is a discussion we had internally at Max on Beta and all that, and it seems to be the following thing: some plugins don't need any rewriting.
Okay.
And we're talking about C++, not Python. So Nitroman's plugins, which are all Python, or Python plugins, don't need to be touched. They all work, no problem at all. Okay. But when we're talking about C++ plugins, the best case scenario is that you open your already existing source code and you recompile it using the new SDK. So there's a good chance that a lot of these plugins don't even need a single digit to change on the code. They just have to recompile. But all C++ plugins need a recompile. There's no exception.
Okay.
The binaries, the DLLs, and all that, whatever that is. I'm just making up words now. So, and then from that point onwards, depending on how much a developer has followed Maxon's suggestions every year to update their code, because every year some changes are made in the Maxon SDK. It always gets better, and they add more libraries and all that. These are the things that people don't really know, only developers know. But if some developer left their code for the last 7-8 years and it just happened to work up to version 19, that developer may need a few hours work to change a few things. Now, what Maxon says definitely is that it doesn't mean that the whole thing needs a rewrite. If you have, we had a comment about from someone that says, I think he adjusted 6,000 lines of code, 60,000 lines of code, but it was a 6 and some zeros lines of code.
Basically in a day?
In a matter, something like that. Within.
I'm actually on the CG Society one that you just mentioned.
Is that 6,000 or 60,000?
60,000.
60,000. 60,000.
60,000 lines of code.
Again, you have to take this with a grain of salt, but overall, Maxon says, no, there is some effort that needs to be put in, but it can be from extremely minimal to medium. But every case is different. Let's just not, let's just not hear the extreme cases and believe that they are part of, the mainstream.
That is not a blanket problem across all plugins.
Yeah. And don't forget, guys, you can always contact your local distributor where you got, the tech support will always, and customer service will always, explain what's going on, talk to your plugin developers. Tell them, if you have any plugins, ask them, are we going to receive our updates with R20? Do we have to wait for a few months? What's the situation? Do you want to, and always apply for beta testing. That's another thing that people don't know. If you have a favorite plugin and if you have time to spend, right, it's a really, really nasty thing to think I'm going to sign up for beta just to get something for free. Okay. That's unethical. It's not illegal, but it's, in my view, it's unethical. But if you have some time to spare and you want to participate in creating a better product for yourself and your colleagues, talk to you and provide feedback. Always provide feedback to everyone. Except me if it's bad. No need. I only accept praises.
The French Monkey said that the comment has passed, so I lost it. I don't know if you have the chat up, Matt, but the French Monkey was saying, Noseman, if you're in Athens, if you're ever in Athens, you need to meet up for a beer with him and somebody.
Tony Zavareus, Tony Zavareus.
Yeah. And Phil Raid Zero also said he wants to make a Python plugin for Cinema 4D that just auto posts to Instagram and Twitter, render and post.
Actually, someone had posted this on the Houdini Slack channel. that someone made a Houdini node that would render it and post it to both Twitter and Instagram.
Now, see, I have a better idea than that. I think I think Houdini could pull this off, which is you make a script in there that generates random garbage geometry and puts random shininess on all of it, and auto post it to Instagram every single day. Just an auto daily maker.
So it's like a rando render, only it actually does the render for you. All right.
Yeah. And I'm looking at you, Houdini Mark.
No, wait. Why do you think that's not possible in Cinema 4D? Oh, someone froze. Okay, I thought it was just because.
No, that was Dave.
No.
If you want,
he's just thinking, like he's trying to think how to do it, right?
All right.
I think.
Okay, guys, I'm going to tell Maxon to drop all development of all the new stuff they're creating to create the plugin you just requested. That's it. Can you just make a phone call? So if anything happens in our 20 and you only have a Instagram poster of random shiny things, you know whose fault it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. So it automatically creates like a plane, right? Okay, so it starts you with a plane.
Not a plane. It needs to start with a
landscape.
Landscape.
Okay, so it starts with the landscape, and then it takes, geez.
It has a random seed.
No, it picks one of the random noises, right? And then uses that for a displacement map that is thrown onto the landscape, and then it takes, it creates either a sphere, a torus, or a cube, right? And makes that an emission texture.
Okay.
It puts that in the center, right? And then, that's it.
And then you need Python to auto post.
Right. Easy enough to take, dude.
Yeah, auto daily.
Maxon, stop development. Please, all developers.
Stop the presses. I hope they already didn't do the gold master already. Because
you know what? If I got nothing going on tomorrow, I'm gonna make it.
There you go.
Well, there you go, Maxon. You can resume now.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah.
Another quick note here, real quick. I just wanted to talk about this because I guess this just came out this morning. Adobe announced they're increasing their monthly subscription price by $3 to $52.99.
That was the first email I read today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obama. I guess $3 isn't too bad, but the thing is that over time it's $3, $3, and all of a sudden we're going to be paying $100 a month. I guarantee.
Yeah, maybe.
They still can't get RAM preview right.
No.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that the official 3.08 for Octane came out. Oh, by the way, we're in Ravcock. What's your flavor? So in render engines, Otoy 3.08 released. Now, is this 3.08 for Cinema that was released, or is it just the
I think it
full
was
version
just Cinema
standalone?
I mean, you've got standalone as well, I believe. Standalone and C40 were released.
So it did break our plugin quite a bit, which we knew that was coming, but we were waiting for the full version. And we are working on fixing our plugin. So everybody that has purchased that will get an update email to get the new version. So that's it there. Now, I wanted to get to the topics of the day, finally. We always take like an hour and a half or something to do. I don't know, about an hour in. And Noseman, this is your idea, which is taking time for yourself, right?
No, procrastination has nothing to do with yourself.
Okay.
Oh. So we're talking about procrastination or...
No, procrastination. Of course it has everything to do with yourself, but you say it that way so it doesn't seem that it's an egotistic. It's part of the whole process.
Okay.
I want to make a tutorial about the fine art of procrastination because it affects everyone in your life.
You want to do it, you just haven't got.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to talk about procrastination. If you want me to make a very small introduction, tell me. Otherwise,
no, you glitched a little bit. I just thought you were procrastinating, but it was just a Skype glitch.
What's the so procrastination as far as like putting off work or putting off personal work or all of the above?
Oh, everything. I think procrastination is something which is a big part of our character. And I think that a lot of people have, looked down on procrastination. But in fact, the way I see it is that because people work under different stress levels and different times. So, other people work better with the deadlines. Other people work better without deadlines. Other people are structured and they can work methodically. Basically, I can only work well if I'm in a panic. So, procrastination leads you, when, like I have 4 weeks to do something. Like 4 weeks, that's a joke. I can do that in 2 weeks. Yeah. But at the 2-week mark, when you realize that you need to start working, like, but now because I've thought about it for at least 2 weeks, I know in a week.
Yeah.
And, if you divide something by half all the time, you never reach zero. So there's always some time. If you would
actually put it off, procrastinated another week, you could have gotten it done in half a week.
No, right? And that's what happens. I think that, you have to divide it a few times. Anyway, you have to be quite confident at the same time. And of course, you shouldn't do that if you know that they're going to give you an extension, because then that's cheating. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's cheating.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do get the extension after all, which you should ask when you realize that you cannot actually do it in the given time, that's a different story.
Right.
So the whole art of procrastination is to find a very good excuse for not doing it at the current moment. Okay, I think that's the simple rule of thumb. So I'm not going to start today because and just add anything you want there.
Because reasons.
But you have to be specific. Because I haven't cleaned my I don't know, whatever, my refrigerator.
Right.
Yeah. So you're like, that's very important. But what happens is that when you say, okay, I can't work now, I need to clean my refrigerator, because you infuse that thought into your own mind, then you can procrastinate on that. So you go and look at the refrigerator and you're like, okay, what do I need? So you close the refrigerator, do something else until your brain, it works. And you can do that constant, postponing procrastination forever.
Well, I read somewhere, and I read somewhere that when you, and this goes back to just taking a break from what you're doing. If you've got a difficult problem or something that you're trying to overcome. This happens to me a lot when I'm working in Espresso and I'm trying to figure out what the exact good, correct node way of doing something is. Stepping away from it, or even procrastinating for a little bit, even though you're not thinking about it directly, subconsciously, it's still going in your mind, and it's still trying to figure out that problem. And because of that,
two processes, I separate them. For me, it's two different things. Procrastination is a way of life, whereas what you're talking about is a very, very good method when you find that your brain is stuck. Because I was reading in this book that when you have, in order to have a new idea, in order to be inspired or creative, your brain needs to be under very specific condition. They talk about alpha waves or something like that. I'm not really sure where that is, but that's why sometimes when you walk away, the idea comes because you're not pushing yourself to do something very particular. Our work relies both parts of our brain, because one is practical, it's muscle memory, it's putting things together, and the other one is imagination, the part that I lack there, 100% of. So I work with half brain, so I don't have those problems. But overall, the problem is that when these things are working together, you get a lot of conflicts. You need to allow one and the other to work on their own, in their own comfort, in their own time. Our brain is not that much multitasking as we think, especially men are less able to do multiple functions at the same time. In that respect, women are totally a million years more evolved than us. But that means you need to give that particular part of your brain the time. But procrastination has nothing to do with that. Procrastination is just finding a good excuse not to do something today because basically you're lazy and you've managed to get away with it one too many times.
Right.
But what you say is very, very important. Even one of the best, I would tell you the best advice I was ever given when I started working with these things in the 80s was every 15 to 20 minutes, look away and far. Make sure if you have a window, look as far as you can in the horizon for a few seconds, okay? Number one, your eyes won't strain that much, and suddenly your brain is going to work much clearer. If you work in a basement like me, just walk outside. Just change something, and that will change your pattern of thought and all that. Being persisting too much on something sometimes has negative effects.
I can see that.
Bo Jackson in the chat says, "The War of Art" is a great book on this topic. French Monkey agrees.
Yeah, I downloaded it. I haven't actually read it. I remember Ash Thorpe mentioned that to people when they were doing their podcast a year or so ago. It's a good subject. Good book.
Yeah, I've heard of the book. Yeah, it's on my to buy list, not to read, to buy.
Right.
I just buy books. I don't read them.
Yeah.
You got to procrastinate on that too.
I do open them so people see that they're being used.
Right,
so,
you gotta just bend back the spine.
Earmark the pages.
You have to do it properly. Yeah. People are not dumb. You have to do it properly. It can't look too artificial.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe I'll start a blog about all these little ways to hoodwink people into believing that you're a better person than you actually are.
Well, there you go.
It works for me. People think I'm talented.
It's like when you get a new hat, you've got to kind of wear it out before you wear it.
Right.
You run over it with the car. Something like that, make it look a little worn, shove it under a cabinet or something, make it fold in half and beat it up, and then never wear it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give it to other people to wear, so it assumes odors from different heads. That makes
Funny.
My old boss actually used to have a great statement that applies to this topic, which is, well, nothing improves performance like the last second.
Yeah.
And when you're working in a live environment, it's actually true because there is no procrastination when it comes to the time the show starts. But you're working, you go into a place, you're loading in, you're spending like 5 days doing a rehearsal, and then that last day, everybody's like doing all the last minute stuff, right before the show starts. The live show starts in order to get it ready to go, and all the little things that they forgot about. And the closer you get to that point, the faster and better everybody works. So
I don't know. Like me personally, when I'm more of a so this probably goes back. I worked for Domino's Pizza for a really long time, and like I would work really, really hard in the morning, getting all my prep done and folding boxes and doing all this stuff so that I could basically slack off up until it got busy. And that's been kind of my frame of mind. It's like I've got this sense of urgency to get it done immediately as soon as push off doing anything else. It's almost like I'm planning for procrastination in a way, like I do it immediately, and then say I've got a job that's that I've quoted the client maybe a week or something, and it only takes me 2 days. Well, sometimes I don't want them to know that it only took.
Never takes you 2 days. It never takes you 2 days. Let's move on.
Right. So anyways, like, I don't know. And sometimes I'll even work late because I want to have those extra days to just kind of like relax or veg or work on some of my own stuff.
Or make it look better.
Right. Exactly.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, that too.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sitting around. I wasn't working on my own stuff. I was making it look better.
Or there's been times where I'll immediately start on it and get to a point in which I know that I can procrastinate for a couple days.
That's not procrastination. Come on.
It's
you're not a procrastinator. You forget it.
Okay, you're probably right. I'm just
no, you're not. You're structured. Yeah, exactly. You've got structure. You plan things and all that. You're not allowed to use that word.
Okay.
Right? No, you can only say the P word. That's it.
All right.
Right. So,
all right.
I mean, yeah, all you non-procrastinators, like, this is procrastination appropriation here.
Yeah. So okay. Well, explain to me the difference. Like, give me an example.
You don't work. You get to the panic. You know, you sit around. You have an amazingly good excuse, which no one can. You know, and you create this amazing cognitive dissonance about it, where there's no argument that can convince you that you should be a bit more structured. No, what are you talking about? It helps me. It waters my creative juices. You know. It's you know, I can't produce if I'm not under pressure. I work well under pressure. It's a big part of my CV. You know, yeah. No, you're structured. Yeah, you just.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that goes along with like the next thing I have on the list here, which is, you know, when you're running around and like you're like, oh, I'm so busy, I got this stuff going on. Are you really busy, or have you procrastinated to the point where you're really busy? And does being quote unquote busy, even if you're not busy, or pretending, oh, I got so much going on, does that make you have a sense of urgency? Does that make you do a better job because you're busy? And I'm doing the air quotes.
I don't know.
Well, you can still. The more you've struggled to do something, the more good you feel about yourself. So, on a serious note, some people, it helps them from a psychological perspective to procrastinate a bit or not do things to begin with, or just fool around in the beginning, because the amount of effort you need to do the same thing in a small amount of time is bigger. You're going to sleep less, you're going to drink more coffee and all that. And because you had to try harder, when the result is, oh, what a fantastic job, it's that sense of accomplishment. And a lot of people achieve that when they do something harder than the other way. People that do CrossFit and all that, like, kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, you know, going because that's what it is. It's a very hard thing to do, and high level sports people, you know, that's what they do. This gives them a huge sense of accomplishment. So a lot of people do procrastinate or do delay on purpose. When I say on purpose, subconsciously, because the end product gives them more satisfaction, regardless of the fact that it's the same, because they've put more effort into it. So yeah, and it besides the money and everything like that, if you don't get enough satisfaction from your work, you are going to be sad. Okay, it's the sense of accomplishment we get from all the little things we do in life is what keeps us happy people. That's why a lot of people that have been raised without any problems or any sense of accomplishment, and they had everything they wanted, that's why they're so sad, because they haven't developed the sense of feeling happy just by doing simple things. When I drop a glass, I've got very good reflexes. I used to play water polo, I was a goalie, so my reflexes, I've got preemptive reflexes. So if I go like this on you know, and I push a cup and it falls down, the minute I touch it, my hand starts reaching down to catch it. So for someone that views me from the side, they're like, oh my God, you've got lightning reflexes. But actually it's not that, it's preemptive, because I did it by mistake and I know where it's going. And that's part of my training. But I get a lot of a huge sense of accomplishment for that. Maybe that's why I'm so clumsy, because I like to catch things here and there. Yeah.
That's on purpose.
We shouldn't forget that humans have all these weird things that are attached to our upbringing, our biology, and all that. And we you as artists have more sensitivities. That's why you're so creative and your brain works in totally different ways. And sometimes the sense of accomplishment or happiness comes from odd places, places which are normally not considered, you know, normal, or anything like that. Yeah. And I believe all these little things, procrastinating, doing other things, I don't know, whatever any person does is good, as long as the end product gives them happiness. You know, we our profession, I think a large majority of us can job. You know, there are not many people. We have to realize how lucky we are in that respect, because
I totally agree.
A lot of our decisions in life are just about luck. If something appeared, we're not, you know, being raised 5 years old thinking like, I want to be a motion graphics designer. No, that doesn't exist. So, you know, we are lucky we get to the point, and we are some of the very few people on this planet that are actually take huge, feel huge accomplishment and happiness from what we do for a living. So we're lucky in that respect. Anyway, just to tie this whole thing in, that's my spiel for now.
Well, we have a question here from, and I don't know how to pronounce it, Waits One, who says, how do you guys work toward deadlines? And maybe some tips on how to manage those deadlines to make it less stressful. And I think this is kind of related to what we're talking about. So how do you, besides procrastinating, once you get to the last day and you actually have to start the project, the day before it's due, how do you work toward that and not be stressed about it? And actually Troy Aikman's suggestion in that was work as procedurally as possible, and I really liked that comment. Thoughts?
Yeah. Well, the way I do it, because I haven't been in production for a long time, I do 2 or 3 projects a year just to keep, up to speed. I reject quite a few projects. I do tutorials, as you know, and even with tutorials, we have that. The problem is I don't know if this applies to everyone. I have this unique thing where during my procrastination period, my brain is working towards a solution. Now, that doesn't mean that the solution may not be there already, and I just pretend. Cognitive dissonance is a big thing. The solution may be there, but it can't come out yet, because part of my plan or program or the way I work is for that not to come out anyway until the last minute. But when I sit down to say, and I say it's crunch time, things just flow. And, I take huge amounts of time studying my work. So because I like what I do, a big part of procrastinating is doing things which are loosely, I know it's a cheat, but sorry, things loosely connected to what we do. And lately, by a suggestion of one of Max on Developers, there's an amazing book about rendering and RenderMan. I think it's The Art of RenderMan. Now, it was written for RenderMan, but it talks about all these mathematical things like matrices and dot products and cross products and all that. And yeah, I will read a book. It interests me. I'm probably never going to use whatever I read. But for some reason, some of these things maybe sometimes connect in your mind when you're doing something. So for me, it just flows that way. I know when I've never missed a single deadline in my life. I've been servicing clients since I would say the late 80s. I've done freelance from 1988, and since that was my main income. And
how did you get? Sorry, I'll let you go, but then I want to ask more questions about that because I want to know more of your background.
Okay. After prison. Okay.
Right.
So basically, I've never missed a deadline. So there's this little clock in your mind which tells you that, okay, no more delays. Now you have to work. And I think for me is a certain amount of stress where when my procrastination starts becoming uncomfortable, I want to watch this cat video, and I don't feel nice, cute and fuzzy and all that. I know it's time to start working.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
It's just something everyone has built in their own self, and it's a different type of alarm. But you need to listen to your brains. You need to listen to your bodies. It's a huge thing to not to ignore what your own body is telling you at every given time when you're working, when you're doing other things, and so forth. And once you get in tune with that, you have more time to spend. You'll be more creative. You'll be more productive. And if you're one of those, people like, I'm planning, I'm putting things in order. First I work, then I procrastinate, whatever. You'll find that you can actually work on 2 projects for every one you used to work with the same amount of effort. Okay, that was sarcasm for you.
Well, I feel like because of the holidays slowdown that usually kind of happens around Christmas, I feel like especially this year, I spent a lot less time in front of a computer. And in fact, I want to say like the week after Christmas, I barely sat down in front of a computer at all, and which is very different for me. And then partially into January, the slow ramp back up. And for me, going into February, I felt like I had much more motivation and just more vigor to just kind of get back into it and just get back down to basics and stuff and things. Doing more daily renders, doing more live streams, things like that. It was kind of my body saying, no, let's kind of take a break from all the computers and junk just a little bit, even if it, but for me, of course, that's like working 8 hours a day instead of 15, but still it was like a very big slowdown for me because I'm like, nerd guy who's always in front of a computer.
Yeah.
But it felt like it really did help refresh my brain a little bit.
Yeah. That's why I take a lot of vacations.
Mm-hmm.
I take a lot of vacations. And even vacations where, I'm still working, but I'm in another place,
Right.
That's what I enjoy.
Change
that's
of
how
scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
whatever works.
Right.
Whatever works for everyone. Everyone has a different way of seeing things. It's good to learn from other colleagues and fellow artists and so forth. But you essentially have to adapt the way you work to the way your body works. For example, what you see, the dark thing. This is basically the color of my working basement. Everything is painted black because I can't take shines and distractions. Everyone's like, ooh, this is too dark. Yeah, because the only light I want is from my monitors.
Right.
Other people can't stand this. People feel claustrophobic. I've got 2 very small windows here. I don't even fit to get out if anything happened. Well, the window's not very small. I think I need to go on a diet, but that's another story. Anyway, so we adapt. And what I just said about making the environment fit the way your character is and the way you work is it's essential. Don't make your space, don't design your space so that other people like it. Design it so that you feel comfortable and are inspired by it. That's and if you're any good at what you do, actually it's going to be better than trying to cater to other people's liking, unless there are wives where they know better.
That's why you have to have your office, your place, your pad, your man cave, as they call it.
Exactly.
I wanted to go through some links real quick.
Hold on.
Wait,
We're not
I know what you're doing there.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
All right. So real quick, some links. Oh, by the way, you were talking about the Rich Nosworthy video. He is going to be on the show in the next couple months. We've been working on that. So
fantastic.
Unreal Studio came out. Did you see that? That's kind of interesting. I'm eyeing that. It's like it brings in 3D Max files. I wish it would bring in Cinema, but texturing and stuff like that. I guess it's going to be good for architecture and things. So I don't know too much about it, but I was watching some of their demo videos and thought I'd put a link in the show notes for that because these Cinema 4D people are a lot of them interested in very similar things such as Unreal and VR and so I think that's going to be something cool for people who do a lot of architectural design to be able to take their 3D Max renders, bring them into Unreal, and do like real-time walkthroughs and things like that.
Yep. So actually, I was part of the Datasmith beta program because they are working, as they say, on a Cinema 4D solution, but we haven't seen anything yet. Although there is a solution, I don't know if you saw it on Cineversity. There's a solution from Cinema 4D. There's a plugin that has been developed to connect with Unreal Engine. Have you checked it out?
I have not.
I didn't know that.
I'll have to check that out.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't reach you. That's like a couple of weeks worth of news. Yeah. So Maxon collaborated with a company. Maxon US collaborated with a company, and now there's a plugin available on Cineversity, and I may be free. I'm not absolutely sure. That allows you to save out files directly from Cinema 4D, and it's a sort of a live link. After you do the link, you can change things in Cinema 4D, and they automatically change in Unreal. So go and check it out. Yeah, get the link and show it. As far as Datasmith, which is basically the precursor it's part of the technology that Unreal Studio has. Unreal Studio 3D Studio Max is the DCC that's supported, but they actually support CAD files. And so they have a plethora of CAD files, IGES files, step files, and all that, which they can open now in Unreal Engine. And for the first time since the Unreal Engine came out, now there's a monthly fee to it. So it used to be revenue-based, so it was free, but now you can buy Unreal Studio with a monthly subscription, and it's for visualization purposes. So what they're doing, they're creating sort of a DCC application. You can do a bit of modeling, not too much yet and all that, but you have the fantastic render of Unreal Engine, and it's connected to your DCC, 3D Studio Max, or your CAD files. The way I see it is that DCC apps better get their act together, because if these guys manage to build a proper, tool set for modeling and so forth, they're gonna start getting pieces of the market from the major companies, because the render is absolutely stunning. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, the Sage and I we did our VR meetup yesterday, and Sage and I were sitting around a virtual campfire roasting marshmallows, and we were getting into a conversation about moving between Cinema 4D and Unity, which I haven't done too much with it, but obviously he has, and it's a workflow of FBXs. And using the Cineversity plugin that takes individual nulls and saves each one as an FBX so that you don't have to re-import your entire scene. But the thing we were talking about is the fact that even if it says it imports these scenes natively, such as Unity importing Cinema 4D, in the background apparently it's just converting them to FBX anyway. So is there an advantage to working that way, or is native FBX just a better option?
Theory, when you have some sort of link, things happen faster. We have to admit that anything the computer does for you, you do lose a certain amount of control over it. So coming from the old days of page layouts and Ready, Set, Go and InDesign and all that, where you save your image and then whatever you've done gets linked back, but what you do to the image is the final thing you've done. I just prefer that method. When I'm creating a setup, I make a copy of my procedural object. I make sure the topology is exactly as I want it, and my UVs are exactly what they are, and I export that because I made it. I know exactly what it is. I'm knowledgeable enough not to make mistakes or to correct them after. Or to sit around and find them out and then correct them. But anyhow, but I have full responsibility. I think it's because I'm a control freak as well. So I want most of the stuff to go out through my hands. So, and you do learn when you start playing with other 3D applications, like I was involved with Houdini for a while and so forth, what you do realize is that we are spoiled by Cinema 4D's procedural workflow. That we don't bake down, we don't make things editable. We accept them to work the way they do, because in most cases they do. Once you start baking things down, freezing them, making a copy, current state to object and so forth, and have different iterations, suddenly you realize you have a different level of control. And if you want to make it again, you just make it again and just repeat the minor process you've done. But for most things, that has become my process. So when it comes to Unity stuff, I did last year, I did something that involved Unity for a company, Vessel Studios, it was big pharma thing. VR, it was a 360 stereo, and it had a Unity menu and so forth, so I had to do the models and all that, and that was my process. I took my models, I bent them, I created my menu screen exactly as I wanted it, I UV mapped it so I didn't have any distortions and all that. I exported it. I realized there was an issue. I went back, fixed the UV, re-exported it. These are minutes every time. These are minutes. These are not hours. And I'd rather know where the mistake is when it's in front of me, rather than it's hidden behind a procedural object, which I didn't realize capped this and did that and whatnot. Yeah. So that is my rule of thumb is sometimes you spend a little bit more time, but the control you have will save you a huge amount of trouble. Yep. So yeah, FBX all the way. FBX all the way.
And the name of that plugin is CV Smart Export, by the way, for anybody who's interested in the name of that.
Fantastic.
It's really great.
Yeah. I think it's Rick Barrett's work.
Let's say,
his head should have been this big if it was, if the volume was relative to the amount of brain power this guy has. Honestly, he would be like that. I'm not joking.
Max on Rick.
Max on Rick.
One of the smartest and nicest people I know.
That is for sure.
I think what's so great about that plugin is the fact that when you're using something like Unity, if you're bringing in a Cinema 4D file and it has everything in the scene, there's a lot of updating that has to be had, and or even if you have FBXs in a huge scene, there's a lot of updating that has to be had. But if you can divide that into separate nulls of different areas or different objects, and each one is an individual FBX, then whenever you switch back to Unity, there's not as much refreshing going on, and that's what makes it a really great tool.
I guess I don't know.
And the other thing in the links I wanted to go over were EJ's School of Motion.
Cinema
series
4D boot camp.
It has begun, so we'll have a link to that in the show notes. Make sure you check that out.
When is the official sign up?
I'm not sure, but they've put all the info out there, and they're gonna have like some mini podcasts to go along with that and everything. So make sure you check that out. And then the talk that EJ and David did together is kind of a similar precursor to the podcast that they did together for this. So that'll be released this week.
Cinema 4D Basecamp. Hold on. The registration opens March 19th. Okay. So next week, next Monday, if you're looking to get into that, learning from the master himself, EJ Hassenfratz, then that's when you'll need to sign up. And from what I've heard, there's a lot of people. This thing's going to go fast. Like, there are people who already have like their alarms set for signing up. So just be aware.
I think they were trying to book the Maracana in Rio, 80,000, 120,000 people. Yeah. And they said no, because EJ is going to create a riot. So unfortunately,
that's right.
No, EJ is like, it's funny. I'm so lucky that I know a lot of the people more on a personal level than from a professional level. So and I've done my road trip with EJ, and we hang out and so forth. And he's like the most lovely person, great to hang out, extremely funny, extremely bright, and he's a beer connoisseur.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're ever in an environment where after Q&A, whatever, and EJ is speaking and they're going to a pub or something, don't you dare miss it.
Yeah.
Go have a few beers. He loves beer. He knows his beer. He's a beer connoisseur.
Yep.
So above all the other talents, he's got that as well.
I think he keeps track of every beer that he's ever drank on this app. When he was in town, I think he was up to like 7,000 beers.
Oh man.
But he's not an alcoholic. They just have he just has small little samples.
Yeah.
If there is a beer connoisseur, it's EJ. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's not a he's not.
That's why we always bring him out to DFW.
Yeah, he's not.
Just so we can hang out, really.
Yeah, and have some sour beers or something.
Yeah, he was the one to introduce them to me. I had no idea.
Me too.
I would think it was beer that was off or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that's so refreshing.
Yeah. Let's do a little VR corner real quick, and then we're gonna talk about some of your background after that. So the main thing in VR this week is that Oculus Rifts, plural, across the world stopped working. All of them.
Yes.
All of them. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a rather annoying problem. Number one, because what if this company went out of business and their certificates on something expired, then everybody's hardware would be rendered useless. This is a really big issue this is Facebook we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it was incredibly annoying because all of a sudden everything didn't work. The only fix you could do is to reset your computer, change your date, try and get it to temporarily work. It was kind of a deal where you're stuck because you can't even open the software to try and do an update. So you have to have a patch.
For how long? For how long? Like a day or two?
Right, but how many people are developers that are using those helmets? That is a big deal.
I will give you that. I'll give you that. But for the average Joe who is just, it was a minor inconvenience for me. And the $15 credit that they gave, that more than makes up for it for me.
Well, tell that to Liam, who ran the patch, and it deleted every single game he had, including all the save data.
That's true.
Wait, guys. Backup.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
All right, I'm not going to turn my camera. So I back up daily and sometimes multiple times a day.
Jeez.
And I have my main hard disk, which I'm working on. Okay, my live, which is a 1 terabyte SSD, which is going to explode one of these days. And then I have 3 internal 2 terabyte disks in my Mac. One is a copy of my working hard disk. So if my disk goes pop tomorrow or now, I can restart having lost 2 hours worth of whatever I'm doing.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The other 2, I make a backup of everything I'm working on. And then I have a 4 terabyte USB Quadra something LaCie, an old one, which has, I think it's a RAID, whatever that RAID is, where it writes on 2 disks. One is parity and there's one waiting if the thing crashes. So I have a redundancy backup, which is my 3rd backup. Okay, so I've never ever lost anything more than a couple of hours work, and that was irritating.
Right.
Yeah.
So no, spare me the thing. If you lose your games, that means they're not important enough to have a backup.
See, I put
that's true. I don't even know how to save that stuff.
I put a lot of my games on Dropbox.
Oh
I will run it from my Dropbox folder. That's where I put all my games.
Yeah. There you go.
And a question that would come up too is that, like, what if you restore back to that point and then you do your patch again and it just deletes it again? You get caught kind of like I am in these Windows updates where it fails to update, it restores back to where it was, and then it says, oh, well, you haven't updated, so let me update. And then it fails, and then it resets back, and you get caught in this loop of...
Number 1, turn off all your automatic updates on Windows. Okay, I take no responsibility for viruses and all that, but get a good antivirus software, get a good antivirus, and you're good to go. And don't play games on your working computer.
Yeah.
Or get a Mac and stop playing games. Full stop.
Yeah.
Get a PlayStation or one of those Xboxy thingies, or an Atari. Play Pong. Bing.
Right.
Bing. You can have hours and hours of fun just watching a thing going bing. Bing.
I don't know. PC Master Race all the way, man.
Yeah. Anyway, the whole Oculus thing, it makes me laugh because the people that are complaining, which are developers, are the people that make software that sometimes creates the same problems for their user base. So sometimes something like that is a wake-up call. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work. But when, as a developer, you suffer from something like that because someone else is developing the technology you're working on, it should be, wait a minute, let's make sure we don't do the same thing to our clients. But unfortunately, humans have a very short memory, so yeah. Oh, release it. Whatever state, we'll patch it. But anyway, I mean, really, are people so connected to their VR devices that they couldn't live like 4 hours without it? Yeah. I think that their biggest problem isn't that. Their biggest problem, they need to save for help, professional help.
Well, it is a little nuisance. My daughters, I had to like log in remotely and try and fix hers, and that was a big pain. And it wasn't, she's a kid, so she was rather distraught.
She should listen to Daddy when Daddy says, take it easy, go for a walk, play with a balloon.
Yes. Yeah. Well, she was trying to play with a virtual balloon.
Right.
Yeah, that's a problem. No. I've got, I'm quite strict when it comes to that. I mean, my kid's young, but he's a kid. He's 3.5 years old. He will learn whatever we teach him. There's nothing about this world that he will learn in the absence of another human affecting his opinion. So if I teach him that it's, you can't live without VR or mommy's mobile phone. He hasn't. I don't allow him to play with my cell phone. That's it.
Right.
That's
right.
It. I allow him to.
Don't start, because trust me, once they do.
Oh yeah.
I know. And if when the time comes, he will get a utility phone. He needs to be taught that when kids tell you don't have a smartphone, he reply, yeah, but I have more free time and I'm smarter than you and I'm good looking and I'm healthy and you're going to spend so much money on strings. That's the reply, basically.
All right.
We'll see. We'll see how that works out in the schoolyard. But
it's always an experiment, isn't it?
I'm it's kind of funny, but I'm at least happy that having a VR helmet makes kids want to get up and like fight robots and stand up and not sit on the couch hitting the iPad. I know it's not the same as going outside, but it's at least a little bit better step in another direction. If you're playing boxing or VR boxing or whatever, it's better than sitting on the couch.
Let me give you my personal experience, okay? Because I come from a different generation, a different country, a different walk of life than many of you guys. Okay, I grew up in a different continent. So if anyone doesn't know, I'm Greek. I was born in Greece.
Oh, there it is.
There
I was going to ding the bell every time
everybody
you said
drink.
Greek.
Oh.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
So the other day, my son had a tantrum because, I don't know, he wanted something. It wasn't time for that. So with my wife, we decided to lock his toy room. Now, a toy room is nothing I could ever imagine growing up with. I had one bedroom with my brother. Okay, that was a norm. There's one bedroom for the parents, one bedroom for the siblings, and then there was a living room and a kitchen. That was it. A flat in Athens. And we still have that flat. So, having a toy room is, a big upgrade from that. So I had a lock, and I locked the door. That's it. So he had his meltdown for about 10, 15 minutes. When he realized he wasn't getting any response, and we're talking about a 3.5-year-old kid. He took the stool, he started spreading toys and puzzles over that to reach up. So suddenly, for the next hour, he was playing his own try to enter the room game, try to reach the lock. It was very high. He tried, he put covers, he folded the covers, he put a second pillow. Of course, it became unstable. But, it became his entertainment. So after that, he realized he couldn't get in. He sat down there and he started talking to us, saying things like, oh, the room and it's very high and that. And later on, he's downstairs in the living room. We don't watch too much TV. And he found a feather from a pillow. And he was ecstatic playing with a little feather, blowing it. I showed him how you can go and blow the feather for an hour. We couldn't get him away from the feather. He opened the room up there and he didn't want to go. So, this shows that people don't need iPads. They just need a general direction. And kids are, they're sponges. They will absorb anything you give them. They can watch you work. But if you say, listen, don't come close to here. This is daddy's, mummy's place. You can play over there. You can watch, you can ask, you can do whatever. You put the boundaries. It's very important for kids to know their boundaries. And that's my little story. He became an escape. He tried to become an escape artist to get into a room, to break into a room, which is far more educational and entertaining than sitting with 150,000 little cars going.
So many cars.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You can play with your toys, but first you must decipher a series of clues, each one more difficult than the next. Give them a challenge. Other VR stuff we did. I did want to talk about our VR meetup because we met up and it was fun. If you're gonna do a VR meetup, there's a lot of things that have to fall into place.
Screen. Don't do big screen.
Well, it was a big screen was a good meeting place for us to say, okay, we're here, and then we waited for people to show up, and then we said, okay, what are we gonna do? See, Matt, you didn't wait around long enough. We waited for everyone to show up.
I got to clean my house. I've been having to clean my house.
But the thing is that, like, a lot of things have to fall into place to make a VR meetup work. First of all, you need some sort of audience that is in the general nerd category of being able to, have the right gear and the headset and all that stuff. And then you have to plan the date and the time, and everybody has to meet in a place. So we had about 7 people show up, which I think is pretty good for a VR meetup randomly on a motion graphics channel. And so it was a lot of fun because we met up, we started talking about things, we were figuring out how to use the software, and then we said, all right, so what are we going to do? So we ended up going to Rec Room, which is a lot of fun, and we all invited each other to like private rooms. We sat around like racing remote control cars around this little park, and which my daughter showed me how to do this,
That's funny.
So you could do that. And then we sat around the campfire for a while and walked through some waterfalls. And then we went over to the paintball area, and we all played some paintball together. So it was a lot of fun. So we'll probably do it again at some point. So get on Slack and find the info in there. One thing we were talking about in there is this game coming out called Beat Saber.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
So it's like Guitar Hero meets Star Wars, and so you're using lightsabers, slashing.
It seems kind of like you're like drumming in a way, but
almost like
you're slashing.
Ninja.
Kind of, but you're slashing the things coming at you, and it tells you which direction you have to slash it to cut it in half. Which looks pretty cool. Like when I first saw it, I was hoping that they do something like a drum set, because I would love to learn to play drums, and if I could learn to play drums, so much, I could play a little bit of drums. Like if I could learn to play it better, in VR, that would be awesome. That would be very cool.
So it's like Fruit Ninja or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's talk about your background, because I want to know about 80s Nose Man.
I'm lucky. I'm lucky because I was there from the very, very beginning.
How did you get into this industry? That's what I want to know.
So I don't even know. So the first real computer I was aware of was the Sinclair ZX81 with 1K RAM. It was kind of this big. If you Google it, you'll see it, which I saw in a newspaper ad. I think it was back in 81 or something like that, 1980. So I went to this computer fair, first time in my life. And it was like the most amazing thing. It was at the Hilton Hotel in Athens, and I just walked in there. I was like, what is this? Computers. No one had a computer. We just heard about them. We would read about them, but no one ever had it. So I walked over to that booth that sold the ZX81. It was like a very small thing. The keyboard was a touch kind of a membrane thing, and it was this big. That was it. And by the way, someone wrote a chess game for it on 1K RAM. Talk about wasting resources now. Anyway, so funny enough, that's why a lot of luck is involved in this. The next year, 81, 82 or something like that, I visited some friends in Cyprus. So one of the guys I met from a friend had one of these at home, which belonged to a friend of his. So out of the blue, I'm sitting there in front of a television with a thing that's this big with a keyboard, and you can write basic code. I didn't even know what programming was. So he wrote from the manual. He wrote this, to do a sine wave, and every pixel. I think it was the pixels were 64 by 48 or something. So it started going. Boop, 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 boop. That was the real time speed of making pixels as big as blocks.
Right.
And that was it for me. The fact that you can write. You could. I always loved math and geometry and all that at school. That was my thing. Physics, chemistry, and all that, but mostly math and geometry was my thing. And the fact that you can write 2 lines of code in a language, a weird language, and you could draw a sine wave on a television, that was it. Fast forward, now I teach.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want any more details. Anyway, so that was my first thing. So a few months later, I found a brochure about the new computer, ZX, that was Spectrum. and that was 8 colors and all that, 16K of RAM, blah blah blah. And my parents went to England for some work they had to do, so I gave them no, what was that? No, sorry, I'm not 16. Yeah, I'm 16 years old. I took the box and went to the distributor, the person that sold these things, and I was like, "Hey guys, I got one of these from the UK." And I think our stream has frozen. Oh no, it's back again. So
no, you're good.
So I don't know why I did that. Why would you ever go to the people that sell it and tell them that you bought one from somewhere else? But I was a kid.
You could talk about it, right?
Well, that was the whole thing. There was no one else to talk about it. One of the people working there took interest in me, like 16-year-old in computers and all that. He was my first boss a few years later. He hired me to make copies of games, pirated copies of games for a computer called the Auric. So after the ZX Spectrum, a whole, Amstrad and 30 different small computers. And back then I played water polo. I kind of missed my opportunity to play in the Olympics, in the Seoul Olympics. So I wanted to work with computers. I was a bit of a mess. I had to go for 2 years and go to the army. In Greece, it's mandatory. So I went from, 86 and 87 was my, I was drafted basically. So that, it puts things off their paces. Because I was playing water polo and I had some national team things, I got into physical education university. I never wanted to study it though. So I ended up just being a high school graduate. That's my background, high school graduate. When I finished school, I started working, then I went to the army, and after the army, I just went to work for an Apple dealer, the bigger Apple dealer then, in 1987. And by that time, Mac 2 came out. In 1985, 2 years back, he brought the first Mac 128, put it on my desk, and said, "This is a mouse, this is a computer, figure it out." Yeah. It was outside the box, and a few minutes later, I was printing the first little sketch. I think it must have been the first ever sketch made in Greece in the history of, Apple in Greece. That was printed. He still has the printout from the image writer. It was dot matrix.
Oh, really?
It was a caricature holding a cigarette. Anyway, so I got hooked with Macs. From my ZX Spectrum thing, I knew how to code sometimes. So it was a good, it was a help for me because back then everything wasn't so user friendly. And anyway, I worked for this guy for a few years. I designed some Greek fonts. I started using Adobe Illustrator. That brought me more in the graphics design world. And because I always had a bit of, I'm not very good, but I'm quite good at drafting and sketching and drawing some things. It just came, again, it's pure luck. Computers and art just come together, and there you go. Both of the things I love are there.
Yeah.
And I started doing with Illustrator 9 some gradients and masks, and someone said, "Oh my God, these are like airbrush things." And I started doing some freelance projects for a little studio. He had Macs and he didn't know what to do with them. He would just do cards, business cards, because his brother-in-law had one of those little presses, a very small press, just to do printing. They used to print cards. And I taught him how you can print on a laser writer. If you print something at 300 dpi at US letter size or A4, if you shrink it 25%, the resolution becomes 1200. It's 4 times more, which was the resolution they used to print on those high-end Linotronic printers and Agfa and all that. So I have to say that was my invention. You don't need to buy a printer that costs $20,000. You can get away with a printer that costs $1,000. Just print your card, your business card, 4 times as big. So that was always my edge. I could it was easy for me to understand these kind of things. It was obvious. I didn't even have to think about it. You make something 4 times bigger, you shrink it down with a vertical, a repro camera, and you got a normal high resolution print. And I worked with Young Rubicam, which is one of the big advertising agencies. It's one of those old school with Ogilvy and McCann Erickson and so forth. They hired me in 1991. They hired me. I set up their studio with a couple of Macs and a scanner and a laser writer and all that. And that was it. I was doing, that's what defined my career. And I became the person everyone went to do their stuff. So I was supporting a studio with 14 groups of art directors and copywriters with 2 overhead creative directors. And they would do all the drafts and all that. And I will do the final artwork and print it or send it to high resolution printing, repro printing.
So at what point did you go from, just printing stuff into actual motion design and 3D animation and stuff?
Well, that was much later. The 3D stuff, that's the funny thing. I always had a fascination. One of the first programs I wrote on my ZX Spectrum was a rotating cube, because we were learning trigonometry. And I realized that if you're trying to convert something from 2D to 1D, all you have to do is project it, and you find the angle and the length of the line that's projected using simple trigonometry. And the same applies from 3D to 2D. And I made a spinning cube. That was it. And I think that was the last program I ever wrote. I thought that was such a huge accomplishment. Nothing would ever overshadow it. But with 3D, by coincidence, I met a guy that had one of those. They used to do TV post-production, and back then it was a totally different story. They had it was standard definition TVs. A rendering would be pretty much what software GL used to do in Cinema 4D at version 8, but it was calculated by a machine half the size of this room, and it was a Fong rendering computer.
Jeez.
And so I that was before I worked for advertising. I was just this young person with an interest, and wherever I found a new door, a sign that said, a TV studio, I would just walk in and be like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I was lucky because Greece was the ideal country to do that. Probably in other countries it would have been kicked out, or I don't know, beaten or shot or something. But in Greece, people were like, hey, what do you mean? Well, I see you're using fonts for video. I've created some fonts for PostScript. Oh, PostScript, what is that? Well, it's a Adobe thing. Oh, really? And I got some Type 3 fonts. And if you open a Type 3 font, it's one of those old font types. You could open it from Adobe Illustrator because it's basically an EPS file. You get every single letter on top of each other. So you get the outline. Before Adobe Illustrator had a create outlines function, I used to do that. I would get the Type 3 font and open it from Illustrator, and then do my typesetting with all these fonts, so I can do all sorts of effects with them and make them longer and shorter. I found a way to provide this guy with the mathematical expression, which was the Bezier curve, and he could import it in his video titling thing. So and these were flukes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, had their font not being based on the same Bezier math that the Type 3 font was based, that wouldn't happen. But it was all these series of coincidences. I don't know, serendipity. It's just, if you go looking for stuff, you'll probably find them. You have to be proactive, and but that was my taste of 3D. I sat with a Silicon Graphics. They had some software called Thomson Digital Image, where you could do simple stuff, but if you want to do a loft, you had to program it in C. But that was my limit. That's why I was like, that doesn't interest me. So then the advertising thing became the thing. And a few years later, I worked for a production studio doing some offline editing and all that with Premiere and Electric Image. So that was when I got into 3D more. Fantastic program, Electric Image. I did my modeling in a program I bought called Amapi. Google it, AMAPI. It had a very futuristic interface, but it was a fantastic modeling program for the time. And a year later, I visited London with a friend to see something called the London Effects and Animation Festival, where we saw a booth with a few tall guys, skinny guys, and there was something rendering, and the scan line was going like, and it was, I think it was two of the main developers of Cinema 4D, and it was Maxon. And we could see like Lightwave rendering trying to do its little rain rendering and all that crap. And there was a program going like whoop, whoop, whoop. And I was like, what is this? Totally unreal. When I went to Greece, I found the local distributor, a one-man band called Michalis Konstantopoulos. And if you're listening, I don't know, but you played a major role for me being right here now. Yeah. And he was kind to offer me an NFR version because I was writing some articles for a magazine, talking about doing everything to make a living. And I wrote some articles about 3D software, including some stuff about Cinema 4D. Then another company distributors meeting in Germany, and instead they sent me on my own dime, which I never miss an opportunity to go and meet everyone. And that's where I met the Maxon people. The first person that greeted me outside Maxon was David Drayton. He, Neo Sushi. Yeah, he makes the Stranger Things and all that. Yeah, he was the first person that I met personally from Maxon, and yeah, it was great. Yeah, and I went there representing myself, basically. Met the fantastic people. By the way, have you heard of Boney M?
Yeah, Boney M.
You like a fool. What about Daddy Cool? All right.
See, I only know the Rasputin song from Boney M.
Right. The producer, which was the same producer for Milli Vanilli. I've told this story a few times. He owned the villa where Maxon has as their main offices. That's the villa, what we call the villa. And it even has the dark brown round bathtubs. Because this was strictly 70s, 80s. It has the offices are still the soundproof studios they did the recordings in.
That's cool.
So, and he was the guy that was the singing voice of Milli Vanilli before the scandal broke out. If people don't understand what I'm talking about, just Google Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
And he was the producer and all that. Anyway. And then Maxon became a big part of my life because you meet people and you realize that, there's this group of extremely smart, intelligent, good, polite people that are behind technology that's beautiful. And, things build up from then. I moved to the UK in 2006, having predicted the crisis in the global crisis and the Greek crisis. And a big part of my work, I started as I did photoshopping and artworking and all that, and suddenly I started working as a 3D freelancer doing packaging, and most of my I made most of my income making cigarette packs for advertising. Yeah, for the Eastern market. So it was like Southeast Asia and Russia. And, and the Eastern European countries. But yeah, cigarette packs. So even if you go on my website, noseman.org, which is back from 2014, you will see some cigarette packs which are from back then. And that was my main means of living. And that's why I do a lot of packaging stuff now, because what I'm trying to do, I don't want to, I'm 52, okay? If I'm lucky, I'm past my 50th percentile life expectancy. So I've learned a lot of things, and I want to find a way for all the things I know to be passed out there, because I struggled. I didn't want to struggle, and I hate to think that other people are struggling to learn the same things that I've learned. And that's one of the things I like about this 4D community, that a lot of people are so eager to share. And,
absolutely.
Have you heard of the story working under the blanket? So I don't know if that maybe you have an equivalent expression. So in the aviation industry, when an apprentice would come to work with an aviation engineer, because it was such a close-knit circle of professionals, what they would do so that the apprentice would not see how the actual engineer is fixing the engine, the plane engine, he would put a blanket over himself with a flashlight, so that he would not pass any of his knowledge. He would pass only the knowledge he wanted to pass to the other people. So that's working under the blanket. And I hate that, because what are you going to do? Take it with you? For God's sake, especially now at a day and age, if you don't want to give it for free, great, just do a platform, but tell people, I get great pride when anyone says, "Oh, I picked up a tip from you." I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm not rich. I'm never going to be rich, but at least I'm going to be fulfilled and knowing that there is someone in some part of the world, that is doing something because he learned one thing from me. I take great pride in that.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, that's
when did you get together with Maxon? Like, at what point did you start?
Maxon US. You mean Maxon US?
Right.
Okay, so I moved to Canada in 2013. My wife's Canadian, so I moved here, and since it was, I knew Paul before that, never met him or any of the guys from this side of the Atlantic, but since I was close here. Then it became more, convenient for me to, fly out and so forth. And I had a couple of tutorials on Linda. I have a UV body paint one and the dynamics one. And Paul and everyone else knew of my work. We did a couple of tests and they liked my tutorials and they liked my presentation style. So in 2014 was my first NAB, which is a great surprise for me. Because I actually
was probably at that NAB.
Oh yeah,
really?
We were.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved Las Vegas. I went there in a huge prejudice because I don't love Las Vegas because of the casinos and the ding-dings and all that.
Same here.
No, it can't be the same. I love it for one and only thing. Have you ever been to Greece? Have you ever been to one of the Greek islands?
No, I have not.
You sit, so I'm sitting. This is one of the funny things, You're sitting at the MGM on the 20th floor. Looking towards the east. That's what I always ask for, an eastern facing room. And behind the dry mountains, the sun comes up. So you kind of see the desert and you see the mountains and the sun. If you exchange in your mind the sand with blue color, it's like being on a Greek island looking at the Aegean and the dry islands of the Aegean. It's amazing. I went to Las Vegas to find something that is very close to what I'm used to to a good memory from Greece, because both England and Toronto are flat. They're pancakes. There's not a single mountain, So, they're Dallas. Well, exactly. And I grew up in Greece, which is a particularly mountainous country. So, I went to Las Vegas to find that emotional connection with the place. And it's just a hue shift,
Yeah.
A hue shift. That was very, very simple.
See, I liked Vegas. I don't know. I went to Vegas for my dad took me for my 21st birthday. So, we partied and had fun. It wasn't until I started going I have family who lives around that area. So from that point on, from turning 21, I was going to Vegas at least 2 times a year.
Didn't you live there for a little bit?
When that's of our house one time,
Gosh.
Yeah, it was awful.
Anyway, so I need to cut this short. I need to make a run. If you're okay with that, is that permitted?
That is permitted.
Brograph?
Totally.
Is that okay with everyone else? Do not start fires. Do not break your computers.
Can we? Do you have 5 more minutes?
Yes, I do.
Okay. We've got something that we have to do with all of our guests now.
Yes.
And that's called Brograph Recommends.
Yes.
And so this is going to be. We'll quickly go through this list, and you can give us the answers to these, and this will go up on the website.
Yes.
Favorite movie?
Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes.
That was a good one. That's
good.
Because it was a precursor to our society now. Closer than 1984, I think.
Can't wait until Taco Bell takes
And
over.
Then favorite music? Favorite maybe album or music?
Oh, that's a difficult one. All right, I'll tell you the thing that brings me the best memories. Dire Straits.
Okay.
Dire Straits. Google it, for crying out loud. Dire Straits. It's a band, a British band. Mike Knopfler, one of the best guitarists of all time, and so forth. But I'm a classic rock fan. But Michael Jackson on the other side. I grew up with Jacko. I mean, I used to do the dances and all that, and James Brown. I grew up in the 80s. That Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and, breakdancing and all that. It came a bit late to Greece, but it was ideal for my age. I used to do the everythings. Yeah. Embarrassing to think about it. I had an afro. Maybe one day I'm going to post an old photo.
Yes,
me and my big hair. Yeah. So next. Sorry, it wasn't a yes or no answer or something. Yeah.
Next, favorite TV show.
Ooh. It's between. Oh my God. Again, difficult. I'm going to give you 3, and then I'm going to narrow it down. So, The Wire, Breaking Bad, Dexter. Let's see. Oh, damn it. The original Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. All right.
Favorite podcast.
Brograph.
Whatever.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
Do you listen to podcasts in general, like often or no?
Not really, no.
No, okay. Favorite plugin?
Ooh, favorite plugin. Cineversity plugins.
All of them. There you go.
That's fine.
But if we're talking about the biggest powerhouse plugin, I would say is X Particles.
Okay.
Yeah, it changed. Yeah, because it kind of changed the game.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
And Mike is a good friend, and I mean he's done. You guys have no idea what this guy went through to bring this. You need to interview him one day in depth, and
we do.
Yeah. He's been struggling before it ever became apparent. He's worked his beep off to get it to that point. Yeah, he's worked so much like no one else. Yeah, and I'm thankful because like many other people, he made it possible to do all these amazing things.
Headphones.
Sennheiser.
There you go.
All right.
I have another set as well. 3Ds, but they're a bit too tight, and they're gaming, but very good quality of sound. Those are the ones I used to do my first recordings, until I thought I'd go with a professional setup.
It's pretty good.
Very good.
Favorite website or Chrome extension, if you want to go that route.
No Chrome. Favorite website. Where do I go? What's my favorite website? Oh, Maxon's beta testing forum.
There you go.
Okay.
And and lastly, what is your favorite life hack besides procrastination?
Favorite life hack. I call it a life hack, but it's high performance sports.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is a life hack. I used to train 13 times a week, 2.5 to 3 hours each time. So 2 times a day, morning and evening, and once on Sundays.
Nice.
Just to give you perspective, when a normal person that knows how to swim can actually swim well, I could jump at this age, 52, and I haven't been to the pool for many, 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 many years, and I've got so many injuries and so forth. I can still jump out of the water without touching the ground just by doing the egg beater up to my Speedo, because we do wear Speedos. So I can lift my whole upper body up, and I'm over 200 pounds. And that is something a normal human cannot do. When I was 18, 19 years old, I could actually jump up to my kneecaps out of the water. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to. Maybe that's something I should get into then.
Swimming is the best. I believe the best exercise because it puts the least amount of stress on your skeleton and your muscles, and the maximum amount of stress on your respiratory and circulation. Because not only you need to breathe, you have to breathe in rhythm when your head is outside the water. Otherwise, you do what's called drown.
Oh yes,
right.
So it creates discipline, and you hold your breath. And so, yeah, his new nickname is Flipper. How do dolphins go? Like, okay, guys.
All right. Well, we appreciate you so much for coming on and talking to us. We're going to have to do more because there's so much we could talk about.
Yeah.
Next time, maybe we should structure it a bit better. And what I would love to do with you guys, maybe we can do some sort of webinar or something. If we get an interesting amount of tips and tricks, maybe at some point we can just cut through, show a few things, and so forth. I'm working now, self-promotion. I'm working on some fantastic tutorials. Most of them have nothing to do with anyone that's listening. It's for new people that don't know 3D, but from very specific disciplines. And at the same time, I'm creating some on the side tutorials again for Cineversity to create line art and so remember those big raster effects? What are they called? Pattern effects, like old newspapers used to print. You could print with big dots. What's that called?
Yeah.
Fusion patterns and so forth.
Points
or lines and all that. So I'm developing a very, very simple technique which you can use in Cinema 4D Lite as well, where
halftone?
Halftone lines, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm developing a technique on screen space or object space. You can do all sorts of weird things to do very extreme contrast, artistic stuff.
Cool.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you everyone for all you 12 people.
Hey, there's 25 watching now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great talking to you guys again. And whenever you want, just give me a call and I'll be available.
Cool, man. Well, we'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Take care.
We're going to we're still live, which is fine. I'm doing.
So shall I shut off, or are you going to shut me off?
Oh, you can in a second. Just real quick. Just save out what you have on the.
Shall I pause my
you can stop.
Yeah, you can stop your recording.
Just save it, and if you can send us like a Dropbox link or whatever, that'd be awesome.
Okay. Dropbox or WeTransfer, which I like.
It doesn't matter.
Whatever. Either
I
or.
will do that.
Well, you guys are doing this. I'm gonna run to the restroom.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna save because I want to.
So what we're gonna do is
that live?
We're still live. Yeah, we're still live. We just let it roll live because this is all about the audio version anyway. So, if you want to send me that, and then we'll get off the horn, and then Matt and I will continue into people's people.
Good. So I'm going to do it in my documents and press save. Okay. So, and it's exporting. So I'm going to sign off.
All right. Sounds good. Send me the link. I know you're in a hurry, but as soon as you can get me the link, and
I'll do it immediately in the next 5 minutes.
Great. Well, we really appreciate you being on, and we'll be seeing you in like 3 weeks.
Yes, indeed. Take care. Right. Bye, guys.
Take care. Bye. All right. So let me switch over. We will continue on as soon as Matt gets back here. All right.
All right. You got my. All right. You got it all.
All right. Yep, we're good.
I think I'm too big. I am too big.
No, you're good. Just hold on 2 seconds. You'll be good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. All right. So let's continue on. You're still rolling, right?
Yes, I am still rolling.
Okay.
This is not Brograph After Hours. This is straight up still Brograph podcast.
All right. Let's continue on.
What? No.
I said, all right, let's continue on. I've already played the People's People song, and we'll just go into it.
All right.
So we've got quite a bit of People's People to do today, and I don't know if you want to get into all these, but man, I could not choose. There are 6 epic ones to choose from. And so...
all right, tell me which ones they are, and I'll nix a couple of them. All right?
All right. Okay. We have to start with this one. So we're going to go from here. If you take your Beeple viewer of choice and go to March 5th, year of our Lord 2018, it is called Old Guard.
I like that. It's pretty.
And, I think somebody even commented in the Slack channel that this is going to be an epic people week.
Yeah, someone did.
And
I think it was.
it's true.
I think it was Billy.
Oh, Billy. So, this one is interesting because it has the rectangle portal-y thing.
Yeah, but it's not a full portal.
Right, but
it's a gradient portal.
It's a gradient portal, as if it's maybe disappearing or appearing or something like that. But there's two animals of some sort, maybe a horse or something, and they've got skeletons. And I'm wondering now, is this a portal that maybe started to disappear and these animals are in front of it and it killed them? Or
perhaps,
what's the deal?
I'm getting a very Lost theme here, like Lost with the what is it, the white bears? Oh my gosh, the polar bears. Yeah, with the polar bears and how they were transferring polar bears to the island to test this transportation system. That's what I'm getting with this.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I guess I never caught that.
I saw a there was someone online had basically a Lost breakdown. It was like answering all the Lost questions that you could ever have, and like 90% of it was the island is magic.
Right, of course.
That was 90% of the answers.
Whenever something like that happens, a fairy did it.
A fairy did it. So,
all right. So as far as structure of this, I'm guessing redshift. That's my guess.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm thinking, I don't know if it's forest or palms. It's so hard to tell some of these, if it's forest or stock or what it is, or if they're instanced. But you got these crystal things going on. And then my question is this particular planet, is this the terraform planet? Is this something else? Or
I don't know. I think this is something else, because maybe this is a potential planet. That's what I think. I think this is a potential planet, and that's why you've got these animals here.
So they put them there to see if they would survive, and they died.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Yeah, totally.
But also it's called Old Guard, so it was almost like maybe these two were guarding the portal, but then they died.
Yeah. Kind of like the Never-Ending Story,
The more food for thought for the Beeple book.
Right. I'm writing it in my head right now.
Yeah. And all right, so you don't want to do all of them. So I'm going to ask, if you want to do Future Taser, because it looks a little Daft Punkish, or if we'll just say, okay, there it is. We'll move on. Okay.
Okay, so Future Taser, this kind of looks similar to what's the one when he's giving up, Which one was that one?
I don't see that.
I think this is, I don't know. That looks like it's from the opposite side. I
don't know.
Anyway, okay. Keep going.
Okay, but we won't go into depth on that one. This one I do want to go into. It's called Hue Shift.
This one's pretty.
Because, for one, the palms are similar to the other planet. And then you've got the guy standing on the bridge, which this is, I think this is the guy you think is actually Beeple. Or a scan of Beeple, but I don't think it is. But the big thing is we've got this tie-in to this like Japanese structure that we keep seeing. And it's either kind of in its native habitat, or it's in a huge skyscape, or something like that. That's what I keep seeing this building, and I'm like, what is this? And the Hue Shift part I get, because.
So when how when people say like the 70s, you have this look in your head, when people say the 80s, you have this look in your head of like, the design aesthetic and everything. People say 90s, you think of the fashions. When people talk about like the 2010s or whatever, or late 2010s, purples and pinks, it's all purples and pinks. Like that is what it's going to be loaded with.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. So, again, same render engine is what I'm guessing, but I mean, I don't know. but still, I just keep thinking, okay, what is the tie-in with this Japanese culture thing and some of these landscapes? So we're gonna.
In all honesty, I don't think there's a tie-in. I don't know the tie-in as far as a story, but I think he just got like some more packs, and he really just wants to incorporate these.
or he just hears me talking about him, and he's trying to throw me off.
Right.
Let's go to March 8th, Hutopia, because again, the Hue thing, but man, this is a spectacular one.
It's very pretty.
In Hutopia, I'm wondering if this is kind of like the ultimate end goal to this new terraform planet, because this is like, it's a utopia because they finally got it to where they want it, right? Like all these years of the people slaving away and whatnot, and this is where we ended up. So, like the master society with the, like awesome buildings and technology's perfect, and there's no war and no crime and everything's great. I feel like this is like the very end of the book. This is very close to the end. You see the structure. And even in the background, like if you look in the background, some of these buildings almost look like greenhouse type buildings. It's very green. It's very efficient. And maybe even there are some, I feel like maybe in the background, maybe there's some rockets or something going on. I'm going to guess, though, on this, that this is Octane.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
Maybe not, but I'm guessing Octane on that. So
yeah, I'll agree with you. It's pretty.
And we've got two more that I just can't ignore today.
Two more I just can't ignore. Yeah,
March 9th.
I know.
Thermonuclear ladybugs.
Love it.
Come
Absolutely
on.
love it. It's so good.
And to me, is this the guy who had the hood that was giving up in a couple weeks ago?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, look at the two of them. Like, because, well, no,
I can't tell.
That's just an instance of her.
Not, is it what? Is it a? But is it hair? Is it a woman?
I think.
Or
it's
is
a woman.
It a guy with a hood?
No, I think it's a woman.
Oh, okay. There we go. All right. So, what is going on with the ladybug, first of all? Because we've had all these animals, right?
Dude, the ladybug is awesome. I freaking love this thing. This was a really, really awesome.
We got small ones and big ones, and then we had the pig, and what else did we have? We had some. Oh, right. Was it like cows or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Because these are the little people's people, so they could ride.
I don't
a medium-sized ladybug.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the thing. I mean, is it a small person or is it a big ladybug?
No, because look at the size of the jet engine.
Yeah,
look
but you could. I don't know.
And look, you got smaller ladybugs too.
What's also interesting, I think they've hijacked the brains of these ladybugs because look how they have and also check this out. Like, I don't know how easy it is to see, but it almost looks like there's an overlay of line art on some of this. On some of the mechanical pieces. Yeah,
I think he does that sometimes. Like,
that's
if
really
he wants
cool.
To get more details on stuff, he will render out like a wireframe pass or something, and then just stick it over there.
Man, really cool. And I'm guessing Octane on that one, by the by. And it's just so hard to tell after the post.
I'll say Redshift. Yeah, I know.
So?
Sage said, guys, the heavy neon color world is the VR world. A few months back, a bunch of people had VR helmets. Even that giant pig and stuff, these heavy neon worlds is what they see.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I'm so excited for this one.
Okay, go to March 10th, Emoji Warfare.
Dude, this one actually, I think, hit the front of Reddit the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm seeing, okay, so you have the crying emoji with like this almost like Greeble displacement map going on. Yeah. With like numbers, and you've got those cables again, the same ones we saw coming off of the Japanese stuff a while back, helicopters and army, and they're all around this emoji character. And so we've got to figure out how this one ties in, because emoji warfare, do you think that there are different battalions that represent different emojis?
I don't think so. I think, well, I don't know.
Are they against each other, or is each
no.
Are they competing battalion? Like, how does this work?
Like the atomic bomb, that the U.S. dropped during World War II. Its nickname was what? Big Boy and Little Boy, or something like that.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it's something like that. So, in this future, this is I think this is a bomb. And I think this is crying boy or crying emoji. From now on, they don't actually make the bombs look like bombs. They make them look like giant emojis so people know what to expect.
So people know how to feel as it's coming toward them as they're about to die.
Right, exactly. Okay. Well, this is just the crying emoji. This could just make them cry, could bring on hardcore feelings.
What's a cry bomb?
Oh, yeah, cry bomb. There you go. See? There could be the X over the eyes bomb, emoji bomb, and that would be like death,
I'm thinking maybe this like...
You could do the vomiting emoji. Oh, man, I would love to see this with the vomiting emoji. That would be awesome.
I think maybe what this does is it will bomb a planet and it will freeze and suspend them for a certain amount of time. And that's why it's the cryogenic bomb. That's why it's the cry emoji.
That's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
Fat man and little boy. Yeah. Okay.
This almost starts a whole other section, like the emoji. Well, the emoji wars. Like, when did the emoji wars happen? What year was that?
Okay. I feel like with thermonuclear ladybugs and emoji warfare, he's definitely like pulling kind of inspiration from Hoodas, because with his stuff, like maybe he was just inspired by his stuff and he wanted to do something like that. I mean, that could be the inspiration behind it, because they're both great. They're both
I love both. Pieces. Like these two right here, like I would want on my wall.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So cool.
Totally agree.
Like I want canvas prints of these.
Yeah.
And what render engine do you think that is there?
The emoji warfare. I don't know. I'll say Redshift.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Even with like the little displacement things going on and
yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, that wraps up the ones there were just so many good ones this week.
There were good ones this week.
Amazing. So just had to get into that a little more. Anything else we've got on the agenda here? I think I have one more thing. In email real quick, I wanted to go to this just to put this out there because, from time to time, people ask us about tutorials that have been around for a while. This is from Ryan, who says, I noticed in the Oculus Cinema 4D integration tutorial, it appeared you were using Oculus on a Mac. Was curious what OS you had. How were you able to get the Oculus working on the Mac? And basically, Oculus Rift, they decided to not support Mac anymore.
Right.
And they said someday they will. But back when I did that, it was the original headset, the DK, DK one?
Yeah, I think it was
the original one.
Yeah.
So, that was really old. And hopefully someday they will come back and start developing for Mac again. But it's just hard to say. I know they said they're probably going to come back and do that, but I kind of feel like maybe they just won't. So I just, I don't know what's going on with Apple and all this stuff. They're trying to get into VR and all that, but I just don't see it really picking up the way it is anywhere else. What's up?
Al Heck on the chat said PTSD from emoji warfare. I remember the days when the first smiley dropped. That's funny.
What happens when when they do the vomit one? That would be interesting.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, man, you could just go off on such a tangent. That could be a whole volume.
Yeah.
Is in the book.
The emoji wars
is the emoji wars.
Yeah.
It could be an entire thing. Somebody's gonna write that someday. Make $1 million.
Yep. The emoji wars.
The emoji wars. Well, we got stuff to do, so we're going to get out of here, post the show, post more cool videos, get ready for some live stuff, and do taxes.
Yay.
So, what do we got to take care of here? You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review. You can also subscribe to us. We have lots of shirts out now. We've got the No Brograph, No Mograph tee, the Gate D. Simone limited edition shirt. We've got the Paul Babb Feel the Bad 2020 shirt, which all profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. And now we have the Render Things t-shirt and hoodie. So make sure you get that. Those are pretty dope. And we need to get some. We're going to get some Render Things shirts printed, I think, maybe, and take them.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think I think that's a really good idea.
That'll be the one that we do up for the year. You can subscribe to our newsletter as well. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and of course, YouTube and Brograph.com. And we're looking forward to getting more emails. Brograph@Brograph.com. We need show topic ideas or get in the Slack. Next week, we will have Mr. Plow on.
Yay!
That name again is Mr. Plow.
Yep.
And so we're going to talk about what it's like to run a render farm.
Yeah.
Going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you get contact with us if you have any questions for later. Is that it? We done?
I think that's it.
All right.
Until
next week, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
Have a good one.
Later, bros.
Whew. I
gotta go to the bathroom real quick.
I wish you would.
Wish you would.
All right, everybody. You are now listening to After Dark. Brograph After Dark. Oh, yeah. Which we're not really going to do much except for sign off. But thanks, everybody, on the live stream for watching. It was great. Had a lot of great comments and junk. And we are going to get out of here. So you go.
Episode 125. My
Cool.
computer.
I'm going to put the standby up and play the waiting game and get us out of here.
The waiting game sucks. Let's play Hungry Hungry Hippos. Al Heck, we need to have you on.
Yes, Al Heck, for sure.
All right, that's saving.